order to not delay this video even further, I spontaneously decided to film after all. As you can see, my makeup is almost non-existent anymore because it is, I think, around 8 o'clock now. But there's still a bit of light outside, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to film. And please excuse my red inner mouth corners, how are they called in English? I just had a few crisps. I usually don't buy them, or we don't usually have them. Every once in a while, then it's a small bag, but I just felt like having them. I went grocery shopping and came back with watermelon ice cream, crisps, a bag of little bath salts, and a magazine. Just screams pregnancy update. And update before I start, look at my skin. It's finally somewhat back to normal. I have a bit of a blemish going on here right now, but I'm actually today, I forgot concealer this morning because total pregnancy brain is one of the symptoms at the moment. I know my skin has been so bad in my last pregnancy update because that's when we were in Florida, and usually when we're in Florida my skin does become better because of the humidity and because of the sunshine. But I think the sunscreen, which I used a lot of, really didn't do me any favors. Plus it was still hormonal. Now that I am well out of my first trimester, the cystic acne spots finally stopped. I think after I filmed the last pregnancy update, I have not had any new spots, and it's been 3 weeks since. So you're probably now wondering, hey, 3 weeks? I thought you were going to film every 2 weeks, which I was planning on. And also you can see from the title, this is actually not my 18-week update, but my 20-week update. So what happened? As you know, when you first go into the doctor and say you're pregnant, then they base your first appointment on the first day of your last period. And based on that, my due date would be October 21st. And then you go in for your first appointment somewhere week 7, week 8, at least in the German-speaking countries, I think also in Denmark. And then they measure the baby at the point when it's big enough to be measured. And when I went first in, the baby wasn't big enough to be measured yet, which was okay because, yeah, probably late ovulation or whatever, which it was. So when I went again the week after, we could see it had grown, but I had indeed ovulated late. So she predicted my due date for October 27th, so around 6 days later. Now I have this pregnancy passport thing where every time I go to the doctor, they write in the weeks, and it also says the due date in the front. And there it says October 23rd. How I don't know how they came up with that. From the 21st of October to the 27th of October to the 23rd of October. It just blows my mind. Anyhow, so now every time I go to the doctor, what happens is I have to pee in a cup, then they check the pee, if you have a bladder infection, then they do your blood pressure, they weigh you, they take blood, all that stuff, and then the nurse writes the week and day that you're in. And she's always a bit confused. She's a bit older. She's a lovely lady. Sometimes a bit confused. So she's always asking me like, so Sarah, how far along are you? And I am always, or I have been always calculating from the 27th of October. Now, I noticed that the last 3 times, my doctor who wants to see the booklet afterwards, she keeps on correcting the weeks to basically what the ultrasound says, because, which is, the ultrasound is based, like they put in the first day of your last period and then they compare. And apparently she is doing now quite well, meaning she is actually on track and caught up with the due date based on the first day of my last period, which would be the 21st of October. Now, I decided to go with that just because it's easier. Plus I was sick last weekend, I couldn't film. So I just now skipped one update and I'm going from 16 weeks to 20 weeks with only 3 weeks in between. So I am now, as of today, because I'm filming a little bit late, I am 20 weeks and 3 days pregnant. So half-baked, which is crazy, but cool in a way, because the time is passing very, very quickly right now. Excuse me. In terms of symptoms, I mentioned it, pregnancy brain, total pregnancy brain. Things happen like, you know, I make myself a coffee in the morning and I'm waiting for the milk to heat up in the milk foamer thing with our Nespresso machine. And then I put a bowl of cereal or muesli or whatever on the side, and then I have milk standing there, and I pour the hot milk into the muesli, and I pour the cold milk into the coffee, or I put the cereal into my coffee cup, or into a glass of like a glass I take out for putting water into. It's ridiculous. It's those small things which happen a lot. Yeah, super annoying. Symptom number 2 is definitely still around ligament pain. It's been better. I think I mentioned in my last video, it was better while we were on vacation. It got a bit worse towards the end again because we were walking so much, and then I had a bit of trouble the first days I was back from work, but otherwise I'm fine. And I have a cold, as you can hear. That's not really a symptom. I had a uterine tract infection or a bladder infection. I didn't know I was having one because I am someone who has to pee a lot anyway, plus I'm pregnant. So going to the bathroom often was not very strange to me, in my opinion. But like I said, every time you go to the doctor, they check your pee, and something about the results afterwards made her think that I had a bladder infection. So I got some penicillin, the one which you can take during pregnancy, and I was only supposed to take it for 3 days. I suddenly had symptoms while I took it, which was a bit weird. And yeah, I'm not sure if it's completely gone. I did drink a lot of cranberry juice, and I got some stuff at the pharmacy with like cranberry extract. I hope we're going to Germany next weekend again, because they had a really good cranberry juice, which was actually quite yummy and was the one I feel like helped the most. So I want to drink that a little bit as a prevention, because I'm not sure if it's gone or not, because I haven't gone back. They are on vacation at the moment, so yeah, I have to see. Besides that, she wants to send me to the cardiologist, and the appointment is next week. Is it next week or the week after next? I'm not sure. It's soon. It's on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure. It's soon. So I have to go there because I had a AV node re-entry tachycardia, which was treated with a radiofrequency ablation, and they want to make sure that I can even give natural birth, which is why I'm not too bugged about the whole due date thing yet. Really, what bugged me more was the whole videos and updates, and you know, that's what bugged me for a while now. But yeah, I think it's fine now with going, you know, that I skipped that one update. So yeah, and then depending on what the cardiologist says, we know if I will need a cesarean out of medical reasons or not. The thing is, what I used to have before the radiofrequency ablation was that I had palpitations, which is kind of like an irregular heartbeat. You can feel something is going on and it's not beating like as rhythmic as it should. And then every once in a while I had it so much that it was like a switch turned over, and then suddenly from 1 second to the next I had a heartbeat of 180. And that only went away if I was breathing in a certain way. Basically, I had to hold my breath. I wasn't really breathing, but I had to hold my breath, put pressure on my chest, and then at some point the switch would flip back and I would be back to 80 beats per minute. It sounds really weird. I mean, people who saw me while I was having those little attacks know what I mean. If you have a heartbeat of 180 per minute, there's not much else you can do. Basically, I had to lie down because I became dizzy and everything. And ever since I had this radio frequency ablation, the tachycardia, which is the fast heartbeat, that went away, but I still have palpitations every once in a while, which worries me because in birth, obviously, it's a lot of, excuse me, those crisps I was eating, burping is one more symptom, by the way. But when you're giving birth and you're in pain and you're going for labor, that's already quite a stressful period. And if I now think about that I have this heartbeat, which is so quick at the very same time, it freaks me out a little bit. So I'm fine if it would be a cesarean. I think the thing which freaks me out the most is the epidural you get, like the needle. Oh, everyone who had an epidural always says, well, Sarah, you're in so much pain you don't even care. To be honest, if you get a cesarean out of medical reasons, they do schedule it quite ahead in time so you don't even go into natural labor, which means at the time when I go in, I don't have pain yet, which means I will feel the pain of the needle, and I hate needles. So that is really freaking me out a little bit, but otherwise I'm fine with the cesarean. I mean, Christopher would be there. Yeah, I think it's actually quite nice to know the date to plan around it. So plus it has the advantage with a cesarean because it's scheduled, like I'm allowed to work until 2 weeks before my due date, which is as of right now still the 27th. That's what I told my employer because that's what I was told. So that's what I go with. So I think my last work day is October 12th officially. Afterwards, I'm not allowed to work anymore. But if you have a cesarean, you could technically schedule, because the thing is then I have 180 days maternity leave, and they start from 2 weeks before I give birth. And if I go overdue, she might come a week or two late. So I basically somewhere between 15 to 20 days of those 180 days get taken away from me without having the baby there, which I think is mean. Even though I know, well, no, it's not mean. It's actually because I have way more maternity leave than other employees or other, like if I would work at a different company, but it's still kind of stupid that it's being taken away from you. So, however, if you have a cesarean, you know the date, you can, as long as it's not later than 2 weeks before your birth, you can actually work until you have the cesarean. I could technically, if I have the cesarean on a Friday, I could work until Thursday evening and go in on Friday morning, have the baby, and then on that day is where my 180 days maternity leave would start. So in a way it's more efficient, and I work in a department where it's all about process efficiency and process excellence. So yeah, so that wouldn't even be too bad from that point of view. I'm not even sure, am I in focus? I have a lot of trouble with being in focus ever since Christopher started playing around with the camera, which is annoying me. I really need to go to the hairdresser and get highlights. And yes, I do highlights even while being pregnant. Yeah, so that much about my 20-week update. I think I will have a few more updates in 2 weeks time or 1.5 weeks time, because today is Monday already. Just because of the cardiologist. I think it's next week. Yeah, I think it's next week, Wednesday. So by the time I film, I should know more. Yeah, I am wearing a dress today and tights, so showing the bump will be difficult, but I'll do it. See how I do it best. Maybe I kneel on the chair. Can you see? Oh, I feel bad now because I just edited the other video and I didn't show you the bump either. But yeah, there is something going on and I'm wearing a baggy dress and you can still see the bump. So yeah, that's the bump. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.